We're going to start with The Nation. Crisis rocks Ondo ESCO over Akeredolu and deputies feud. UBA posts 404 billion naira half-year profit. First Lady donates 500 million naira to 500 families in Plateau. Wike moves to sanitize Abuja land administration. Otedola hails Tinubu for resolving the UAE's visa ban and flight suspension. Cargoes for evacuation to decongest Lagos ports. FG targets inflation cuts with 50% FAC savings. Flood storm kills over 5,000 in Libya town. Trade between Nigeria and EU grows to 45 billion in euros. Okay, should I start with the major headline?
Let me start with my story.
Oh, the picture story. Go ahead.
So the First Lady, who is also the national chairman of Renewed Hope Initiative Foundation, has donated 500 million naira to 500 families in Plateau State who have been affected by communal crisis. And she saw the governor and talked about how this amount should be disbursed to the families that have been affected by crisis. It's a relief resettlement package. So for those who have gone through the crisis, so either you're in camps, and then you've lost properties, you've lost your shelter, you've lost livelihood. So this money is supposed to help you sort of regain your life back. But I also like what she said. She says that, when these unfortunate crises happen, it's not always the time to come and be expressing just sympathy. That's important. But also to take concrete actions towards alleviating the sufferings of those who have been affected. She says this is just a small way to show her support, like a small support. She's not saying that this amount covers everything, but her way of showing that, we are here with you, we're going through this with you. And she also assures them that the administration of her husband is going to do everything possible to make sure that, it fosters peace, like conversations that will foster peace, not just on the plateau, but all over the country as well. She says news concerning this crisis has reached her and worried her. So I sort of feel heard because, I talk about this all the time. And I love how she's going about it. The governor of Plateau State also says that he's happy that, this is not a woman playing politics with humanity. This is a woman who truly is passionate about alleviating the sufferings of the people.
Absolutely. So, okay, moving on now to the major headline. So the protracted feud between Governor Akeredolu and his deputy governor, Aiyedatiwa, took a new turn yesterday because the governor has sacked all the media aides of the deputy governor. According to him, they had published some embarrassing publication that to APC and to the executive as a whole. Also, they said that many of the commissioners and the special advisors are a bit scared because he's going to be resuming work next week, and they're thinking that he might be reshuffling. There might be an imminent reshuffling of the cabinet based on the fact that some of them seem to be working against his interests. They were showing loyalty to the deputy governor in his absence, and many of them actually were doing all sorts of things according to the report that I got to him. So they are already preempting a reshuffling that happened next week. He's currently in Ibadan, his house in Ibadan. He hasn't resumed fully to the government office, but he's been working from Ibadan so far. And once that next week, we'll see how that goes for in Akure.
Yeah, so about 5,000 people were feared dead and around 10,000 missing after floods ravaged parts of eastern Libya.
Did you see that video?
It was horrible. Yeah, so they said major parts of the city of Dena, home to approximately 100,000 people, were swept away on Sunday after Storm Daniel, an extremely deadly Mediterranean tropical-like cyclone, collapsed 2 dams. And they said the dams had to submerge many buildings in the area and drown some residents. A seafront bridge was also washed away as tons of water rushed into the sea. So authorities had to label the area a disaster city. Now, yesterday, Taimar Ramadan, head of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, IFRC delegation in Libya, said the death toll was even likely to increase. So we can confirm from our independent sources of information that the number of missing people is hitting 10,000 so far, and that will likely also increase. Wow. So they said they're going to be launching an appeal very soon for emergency funding to support Libya flood victims, and listing some of the challenges ranging from between access to basic health facilities for health services, shelter and shelter management, food and non-food items.
We're still dealing with Morocco.
It's
the
just
earthquake in Morocco.
I had to go out to
3,000 have died. Now we're talking almost 10,000 in Libya. Really
Really
same
sad.
area. Really sad. So you had a story in Nation?
Yes, about the Apapa decongestion. So the dream of decongesting the Apapa ports came to life yesterday when the Minister of Transportation, Saidu Akali, kicked off cargo movements on the Apapa port standard at the APM terminal in Apapa. And so he said that there would be a movement of cargo from Lagos to Ibadan very soon. And the cargo would do a total of 90 40-foot containers per day. So that means 30 per trip.
Wow.
And it says that this also allows the shippers to return their empty vessels, because by the time they go, they offload. So they're able to bring back empty containers alongside. And it said that currently they have only one track being used. The belief is that there should be 3 tracks to be used. But because there's a building standing on the construction of the railing line, it's called the scanning building. And that is affecting the other 2 rails to be fully completed. But we hope that this happens really soon.
That would really help with the congestion. We'll see how that goes. Moving on quickly now to the Punch. Let's find the story. Labour threatens indefinite strike, gives 1-week ultimatum. 1 dies as truck crashes on Lagos Bridge. Car washer steals customer's vehicle 3 days after employment. Libya flood, Morocco earthquake, death toll hits 6,000. UBA grows half-year gross earnings to 982 billion naira. Tinubu orders probe as 901 die in 61 boat accidents. Nigerians to clear goods from Cotonou port, says customs. Despite serious challenges, Nigerians believe in democracy and oppose authoritarianism. Okay, which story are we starting with?
The major headline? Yes, so we know after the 2-day warning strike, Labour is now warning again, and they are threatening to begin another strike, an indefinite strike this time, if the federal government fails to meet its demands. You know, they had initially given 21-day ultimatum, which will be expiring in a week's time. So they are calling on their members and members of the public to join in the strike. They said this is going to follow the failure of the federal government to provide palliatives to assuage the Nigerian hardships as a result of the fuel subsidy removal. And is going to lead to an indefinite shutdown of commercial and economic activities across the country. So speaking with the Punch on Tuesday, the National Assistant General Secretary of the NLC, Mr. Christopher Onyeka, said it was wrong for the federal government to share a bag of rice to a dozen people while giving 100 million palliative to each member of the National Assembly. And it's not a time where people will just sit back and say this does not concern them, but everybody needs to come out so the government will know how serious it is. And they went ahead to remind how they've been giving ultimatums, and then at the negotiating table, it seems that the federal government is not interested in having these negotiations with them, how they are asking for their wages, their increments, and palliatives to help cushion the effects of the subsidy removal. So I just hope.
Yeah. Let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Still reviewing Punch story in Punch. Let me take the customs. So the acting controller general of the customs has said, Customs Service, Mr. Adewale Adeni, on Tuesday announced that Nigerian importers will soon be able to clear their goods from Cotonou, that's Republic of Benin. There was a meeting they had with the representatives from the Republic of Benin in their office yesterday. According to him, said they are building confidence in the system offered by Republic of Benin, and there are importers, and their importers also will be able to import through those borders because they'll be allowed to pay service, every goods and services they're bringing in from those ports. They'll be allowed to pay right there, and hopefully they'll be able to make it easy to pay. And they are building confidence within both countries, and hopefully that with these meetings very soon, importers and exporters will be able to use the borders seamlessly and be able to make payments at the borders too. So, because a lot of importers will be really excited about that, because that place has been congested for so long.
There was a time we were trying to export shea butter, and for shea butter to naturally melt, we spent 3 months at the port in Apapa before we were able to send it to Canada.
Really,
it was a lot. So with this news, I'm really, really encouraged.
So we are hoping indeed that it comes out. All right.
So the president is asking that, or has ordered the probe of. Sorry, just dropped that. Has ordered a probe as 901 die in 61 boat 61 boat accidents. So they said that at least 901 men, women, and children have died in boat accidents nationwide. The period they're looking at is January 2020 to September 2023. And this report just gives us like a compilation of the different mishaps that have happened over the years and the number of people that have died. In October 2022, about 85 passengers capsized, 76 drowned, all through the years. And the very latest, which happened September 9th, where this happened in Adamawa, 15 people were confirmed dead. Another died 2 days later. Women and children were confirmed dead. Over 30 people were rescued in a boat accident September 10th in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. So, like we constantly read these about this boat accident, and of course we sympathize with the families. Right. But it's good that we're probing now the reason for these accidents and what needs to be done to make travel by water safer for Nigerians. Okay, let's just take one story in Vanguard. Not taking. Abductors of Akwa Ibom NYSC members demand fresh 200 million naira after collecting 30 million naira. Tinubu orders immediate payment of deceased soldiers' life insurance. And gridlock truck drivers ordered to vacate Oshodi Apapa Expressway in 24 hours. Yes, I took the NYSC. Yeah. So these 8 graduates of Akwa Ibom State were on their way to Sokoto when they were kidnapped in Zamfara. And they were going for their NYSC and they were kidnapped. And the kidnappers had demanded 13 million naira, which the families of the victims were able to put together, and they paid. They had given them a particular deadline. They couldn't meet up, but then they extended the deadline. They gave them the 30 million. Now that they've given them the 30 million, kidnappers want 200 million. So they are crying, and they said they haven't even gotten any help from government. They don't know anything about rescuing their children. They said, well, they are just depending on God now. They are fasting and praying. But we have 8 of our graduates who are going for NYSC to do Nigeria's work, and they were kidnapped. And it's been 26 days, if I'm not mistaken, since they've been kidnapped. Okay, we have to wrap up very soon. Is there a story you want to take?
Yes, I have a story. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the immediate payment of all group life assurance benefits owed families of departed officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army who paid the supreme price in battles to safeguard the country from terrorists. And this was announced by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, disclosed it at the opening ceremony of their event, a third quarter conference that happened in Abuja. And they went ahead to say that they are also going to ensure that they provide befitting living quarters for our personnel, newly introduced affordable home ownership option for soldiers scheme. They are also going to provide quality post-service homes for the soldiers. They will ensure that the injured warriors get the best medical care and continue to support the widows and next of kin of our fallen heroes. Went ahead to reel out all the ways that they have helped Nigeria.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. When we come back, we bring in our first guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.